The UN wants to end hunger. What a bold goal to have. In 2019 alone, about 2 billion people didn't have any regular access to the nutrition they need to survive, let alone thrive. Keeping in mind that hunger doesn't come on its own, it makes it harder and harder to find a solution to it. There's a huge web of reasons that could lead to a human being going to sleep hungry. Going through a global financial, mental, and physical disaster obviously adds more to the risk of food insecurity. COVID-19 has increased the intensity of any struggle. There's poverty for one, and poverty has its own web of reasons. Divorce, which has its own reasons, and could be caused by financial stress, hence poverty. Drugs, which could be caused by poverty, or could be the consequence of stress and untreated mental health disorders. Of course, that all leads to poverty, hence hunger. Education, some people would rather pay for books and tuition for university rather than food. Whatever the reason, whatever the place or person, it all leads to the same final result. Different equations lead to the same answer, like how 10 plus 10 equals 20 and 5 times 4 also makes 20. In BC, 1 out of every 5 children suffer from food insecurity, according to a recent CBC article on the Breakfast Club of Canada by Marise Zeidler. It is predicted that 1 in 3 children will go to school on an empty stomach if the COVID-19 crisis continues. That number could have been a lot bigger if it wasn't for the strong community. Organizations like the Harvest Project, Quest Outreach, Backpack Buddies, and food banks try their best to give more people, and especially children, what they deserve. According to their website, Quest Outreach has made an impact on many families since it started in 2008. They have 3 distribution centers, 5 trucks dedicated to the organization, and 5 not-for-profit grocery markets. There are large numbers of client visits, children who have been positively impacted by the organization, volunteer hours, but at the end of the day, all that signifies the heartbreaking amount of people in our own community who are struggling. The Harvest Project has also made a huge impact on many households. The organization is focused on extending a hand up, not a hand out. That is their motto, and it means that while they can't lift you out of your crisis and into a better life, they can give you a helping hand and help you get to your goals. The Harvest Project tackles hunger in more than just the obvious way, which is to provide food. They also provide counseling and an affordable clothing shop. Counselors in the organization focus on setting goals with their clients in order to better see the light at the end of the tunnel. As said before, hunger is a child of many different disasters, and the Harvest Project understands that. Therefore, they tackle multiple different aspects. Whether a person is going through a mental crisis because of their financial stress, or if they're in a financial crisis due to their mental health struggles, having a counselor along the way opens up the door for many different resources and can make a person's path to recovery feel less like an uphill battle. Providing affordable clothing to people means, for example, that they don't need to compromise having warm winter clothes for buying food. Unlike Quest Food Exchange, where clients could drop by in their own time, Harvest Project works with a schedule. That means that generally speaking, a client is scheduled to do their grocery shopping on certain days. For example, a client could have grocery and counseling once a month and shop for clothing every 3 months. BC food banks have an immensely positive impact on more than 80,000 individuals each month. 1 in every 3 of those 80,000 people are children. Just like Quest and Harvest Project, BC food banks understand that there is no typical person who needs support when it comes to food. Their website explains that anyone could need support throughout their lifetime and that hunger roots back to many different causes. They mention that a person could need support due to chronic illness, suddenly needing to care for someone else, not having a big enough income, being a single parent, and many other painful things that unfortunately any of us could go through during our lifetime. According to their own website, the Greater Vancouver Food Bank has multiple programs that help provide growing children the nutrients they need. There's a different program for each stage a child is in. There's a Baby Steps program, which provides baby food for children up to the age of 2 and diapers for children under the age of 3. The Preschooler Pack program is for 2 to 5-year-olds, and the Grade Schooler program is for 6 to 12-year-olds. These programs offer their help 1 to 2 times a month. The Greater Vancouver Food Bank has been around since 1983 and has also provided to approximately 80 other agencies in the community to aid with their own programs to end hunger. In 2019, Backpack Buddies partnered with schools and community organizations across the province to hand out packages with 6 meals to 1,300 children each week. In 2020, due to the pandemic, they started increasing their support by giving packages with 9 meals to more than 3,000 kids. The organization's goal was to be able to help 5,000 children per week. They expect a drastic increase in food insecurity in the coming weeks. Breakfast clubs started providing breakfast to 250,000 school-aged children across Canada, which is 30,000 more meals than it provided in 2019. 30,000 more meals, and yet it's still short of meeting current needs. While there is no one way to end hunger, a big thing that gets overlooked is the stigma that comes along when someone mentions food insecurity. Usually, a crisis always comes hand in hand with at least one other crisis, and the human being who is already suffering likely faces the pain of stigma. With so many people facing food insecurity, people shouldn't feel ashamed of something that we can't control, like poverty and food insecurity. Of course, that's easier said than done. The more people who speak up about it, the less people who have to suffer in silence. We're all sitting on the inside of a wheel called life, and it has inevitable ups and downs that we will have to face. We need to disassociate hunger and poverty from shame. We need to stop making people feel like they are less than if they're going through something hard in their life. While organizations are doing a great job, there are things that should be changed. For example, Quest Food Exchange states, "Reduce hunger with dignity" on the storefront, and when it says the word dignity, it really does the opposite. It deeper engraves the idea that in many other places, a person who is facing food insecurity may not be respected, and it hurts to point that out. Although they mean well to a person in need, it could feel like the societal link between not having food and hurting one's dignity is rubbed in their face. Housing is definitely a part of the fight against hunger, since having affordable housing could drastically decrease the pain of someone's fight against food insecurity. All BC housing buildings clearly state that the area is for BC housing residents. That definitely hurts their feelings, even if no one says anything about it. It's unnecessary to put up a sign stating what type of housing a person lives in. Although it may seem off topic, these are all things that seriously determine the fate of many people. The stigma that people face is absurd, and these things increase it. Labeling people who are currently in the tougher part of their lives as people in need destroys people's feelings and therefore decreases the tendency to reach out for a helping hand. We are all human. We all need help. We all face challenges, and there's no need to pretend that we don't. We are all created equally human, but we are not all treated that way. And until we are, we will continue to live in a world that pushes people off the edge and questions how they fell off. And that is something that we should all be ashamed of, unlike needing help.